I am sitting alone in my studio apartment in Seattle, staring at my phone screen. The video playing in front of me shows a young woman laughing, admitting she destroyed my life with a lie. 3 years ago, I had everything. A promising career as a junior architect in Portland, a loving family, close friends, and a girlfriend I thought I would marry. Then one night at a party, my best friend's cousin accused me of something I never did. She said I attacked her. My family believed her. My friends turned their backs. I lost my job, my reputation, and nearly my will to live. What I did not know was that 3 years later, she would accidentally record herself admitting the whole thing was a lie. Before I tell you how I survived the darkest chapter of my life, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your location in the comments, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to hear how justice finally caught up with a liar. Trust me, you will not want to miss what happens next. I was 25 years old when everything fell apart. Life felt good back then. I worked as a junior architect at a small firm in Portland, Oregon, designing residential projects and learning from experienced mentors. My boss had just praised my work on a townhouse design that impressed a major client. I felt like I was building something real, something that mattered. My family was tight-knit. My father, Harold, served in the military for 20 years before retiring. He taught me discipline and integrity. My mother, Diane, worked as an elementary school teacher and had the kindest heart of anyone I knew. My younger sister, Sarah, was 19 and studying psychology at Portland State University. We had Sunday dinners together every week. Those dinners meant everything to me. I had been dating a woman named Lily for 8 months. We met at a coffee shop near my office. She worked in marketing and had this infectious laugh that made even bad days bearable. We talked about moving in together. I thought she might be the one. My best friend since high school was Marcus. We bonded over basketball and terrible action movies. He worked in construction management, and we still grabbed beers every Friday like we did when we were 17. Marcus was the brother I never had. I trusted him completely. In September of that year, Marcus invited me to his birthday party at his house. He had just bought a place in a quiet neighborhood and wanted to celebrate with friends. About 30 people showed up. Music played, drinks flowed, and everyone seemed relaxed. I remember thinking it was one of those perfect autumn evenings in Portland, where the air was cool but not cold, and you could still sit outside without a jacket. That night, Marcus introduced me to his cousin Jenna. She was 21 and had just moved to Portland to start college. She seemed friendly and talkative. We chatted for maybe 10 minutes about her classes and adjusting to city life. I was polite, nothing more. I had a girlfriend. I was not interested. Around 10 p.m., Jenna said she had a headache. She asked if there was somewhere quiet she could rest. Marcus told her there was a guest room upstairs. She looked a little unsteady, so I offered to show her where it was. I walked her up the stairs, pointed to the door, told her there were blankets in the closet, and then I went back downstairs. The whole interaction took maybe 2 minutes. 3 other people saw me come back down and rejoin the party. I stayed in the living room for another hour before heading home. The next morning, my phone rang at 6 a.m. It was Marcus. His voice sounded strange, frantic. He said I needed to come over right away. When I asked why, he said Jenna was crying and had told him something terrible. My stomach dropped. When I arrived, Marcus would not look me in the eye. Jenna sat on the couch with red, swollen eyes. She said I had attacked her in the upstairs room. She said I locked the door, pushed her onto the bed, and forced myself on her. She said I threatened her to stay quiet before I left. I felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. I told Marcus it was not true. I said I only showed her the room and left immediately, I reminded him that other people saw me downstairs right after. But Marcus shook his head. His face was hard angry. He said, "She is my family man. Why would she lie?" Jenna had already called the police. 2 officers arrived within minutes and asked me to come to the station for questioning. I went willingly because I thought the truth would be obvious. I had nothing to hide. That was my first mistake. I did not realize that in situations like this, the truth does not always matter as much as the story people want to believe. The police questioned me for 6 hours. They asked the same questions over and over, trying to catch me in a contradiction. I told them exactly what happened. I showed Jenna the room. I left. I was downstairs the rest of the night. 3 people could confirm it. But Jenna had evidence. Her shirt was torn. She had bruises on her arms. She told the officers I had done it before I left the room and that I threatened to hurt her if she screamed. She said she was too scared to come downstairs right away, so she stayed up there for another hour before Marcus found her. I hired a lawyer. He told me the case would be difficult. There were no cameras in the house, no physical evidence linking me to anything, just her word against mine. He said cases like this often came down to who the jury believed more. Within days, my life started crumbling. Marcus blocked my number and told all our mutual friends what Jenna had accused me of. People I had known for years stopped responding to my texts. My company put me on indefinite leave while the investigation continued. They said it was policy, but I knew what it really meant. They did not want someone accused of assault representing their firm. Lily broke up with me through a text message. She wrote, "I cannot be with someone accused of this. I am sorry." She did not even give me a chance to explain. I understood her fear, but it still gutted me. Social media became a nightmare. Someone from the party posted a vague status about supporting survivors and standing against abusers. People started connecting the dots. My name was never mentioned directly, but everyone knew. Strangers sent me messages calling me a monster. Some said I deserved to rot in prison. The worst part was my family. My father sat me down and asked in his stern military voice, "Did you do it? Tell me the truth." I broke down crying. I swore I did not do anything. I told him I had never hurt anyone in my life. He wanted to believe me. I could see it in his eyes, but I also saw doubt. That doubt killed me. My mother tried to stay supportive, but she faced pressure from our community. People whispered when she went to the grocery store. Some parents pulled their kids from her class because they did not want their children taught by the mother of an accused predator. My sister Sarah had it the worst. She was still in college and word spread quickly on campus. Her friends started avoiding her. One day she called me crying, saying people treated her like she was invisible. She said, "I want to believe you, but everyone at school treats me like I am invisible now because of you." That conversation destroyed me. I felt like I had infected my entire family with my existence. My father eventually said something I will never forget. He said, "Even if you did not do it, you put this family through hell by being careless." He meant by taking Jenna upstairs, by being in the wrong place at the wrong time, by not thinking about how things might look. I felt more alone than I ever thought possible. Even the people who loved me could not fully believe me. The doubt was always there, lurking beneath every conversation. 14 months after the accusation, the case finally went to trial. Those 14 months were the longest of my life. I could not work. I could not sleep. I lost 30 pounds. I started having panic attacks in public places. The trial lasted 5 days. Jenna took the stand and played her part perfectly. She cried. Her voice shook. She looked directly at the jury and described in detail something that never happened. I sat there listening to her lie, feeling helpless. My lawyer cross-examined her, pointing out inconsistencies in her timeline. He brought up the 3 witnesses who saw me downstairs minutes after I took her upstairs. He noted the lack of DNA evidence, the absence of anyone hearing a struggle or scream in a house full of people. But Jenna had an answer for everything. She said I was fast. She said I threatened her into silence. She said the bruises on her arms came from me grabbing her. The jury deliberated for 2 days. When they returned, they announced there was not enough evidence to convict me beyond a reasonable doubt. I was found not guilty. I should have felt relief. I should have felt vindicated. But I did not. Because being found not guilty is not the same as being declared innocent. The people in that courtroom, the people reading about it online, they still wondered. They still whispered. Not guilty does not mean innocent. Someone commented under a news article about the verdict. After the trial, a woman in the courthouse lobby saw me and pulled her young daughter away, shooting me a look of pure disgust. Marcus posted on social media that the system had failed Jenna and that he knew the truth. Dozens of people liked his post. I left Portland 2 months later. I could not rebuild my life in a place where everyone saw me as a monster who got away with it. I moved to Seattle and took a job at a warehouse loading boxes for $10 an hour. It was the only place that would hire me. Background checks showed my arrest, even though I was never convicted. I lived in a tiny studio apartment with a leaking faucet and a view of a brick wall. I cut off most of my social media. I stopped talking to almost everyone I knew. My mother called once a week. We talked for a few minutes, but the conversations felt hollow. My father and sister barely reached out at all. The distance was too painful. I spent 3 years living like a ghost. I went to work, came home, ate alone, and slept poorly. Sometimes I would search Jenna's name online. She was living her life like nothing happened. She posted pictures of herself at parties at the beach with her boyfriend. She smiled in every photo. She looked happy. The injustice of it made me feel insane. She had destroyed my life and moved on without a single consequence. I thought about confronting her. I thought about exposing her somehow. But I had no proof. No one would believe me. One night, standing on a bridge overlooking the river, I thought about ending it. I thought about how much easier it would be to just stop existing. But then I thought about my mother. I thought about giving Jenna that final victory. I decided that if I died, she won. So I chose to survive, even if surviving felt like punishment. 3 years and 2 months after the accusation, I received an email from an address I did not recognize. The subject line read, "You need to see this." My first instinct was to delete it. I got hate mail sometimes from people who found my email online, but something made me open it. The email was from a woman named Amanda. She wrote that she had been Jenna's roommate during her sophomore year of college. She said she had something I needed to see, and that she could not stay silent anymore. Attached to the email was a video file. My hands shook as I downloaded it. The video was grainy, clearly recorded on a phone that was propped up somewhere in a dorm room. I could see Jenna sitting on a bed talking to another girl I did not recognize. They were both laughing, clearly drunk. Then I heard it. Jenna's voice slurred, but unmistakable, saying, "I cannot believe he actually went to court over that. I made the whole thing up because he rejected me at the party. Marcus always talked about how great Elmer was, and I thought he would be into me. When he was not, I got pissed." The other girl, who Amanda later identified as someone named Kayla, sounded shocked. She said, "Wait, you are serious? You lied." Jenna laughed. She actually laughed. Yeah, but it has been 3 years. Who cares now? He is gone. My family believed me. It is over. I watched the video 20 times in a row. I cried. Not sad tears, but angry, relieved, vindicated tears. My hands trembled so badly, I almost dropped my phone. 3 years of hell, and here was the proof. Here was her own voice admitting she destroyed me for no reason other than wounded pride. Amanda explained in a follow-up email that she had set her phone to record that night because she had suspected Jenna was lying for a while. Little comments Jenna made, inconsistencies in her story when she was drunk. Amanda said she felt guilty for not coming forward sooner, but she was scared of being attacked or not believed. When she finally could not live with the guilt anymore, she found my email and sent me the video. I immediately contacted my old lawyer. He called me back within an hour. When I played him the recording, he was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "This is huge. We can pursue defamation sue for damages and push for perjury charges." I did not care about money. I cared about my name. I cared about proving to everyone who doubted me that I was telling the truth all along. My lawyer filed a lawsuit against Jenna for defamation and perjury. We also contacted a local news station. They were eager to cover the story. A journalist named Patricia interviewed me and reviewed the video evidence. She treated me with respect, something I had not experienced in years. The video aired on the evening news 3 weeks later. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Social media exploded. People who had called me a monster were now posting apologies. Others were outraged at Jenna. The hashtag #JusticeForElmer started trending locally. Marcus sent me a text message. It was the first time he had contacted me in over 3 years. It read, "I am so sorry, man. I should have believed you. I was protecting the wrong person." I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me wanted to forgive him. Part of me wanted to tell him to go to hell. I ended up replying, "You chose her over your best friend without evidence. That says everything." Jenna tried to deny it at first. She claimed the video was edited or taken out of context, but forensic analysis proved the video was authentic. Her lawyer eventually advised her to accept a plea deal. She was charged with perjury and making false statements to law enforcement. She was sentenced to 18 months in prison, followed by probation, and ordered to complete 200 hours of community service. She also had to pay me $75,000 in restitution for legal fees and damages. Her university suspended her. Her family released a public apology statement. I should have felt triumphant. I should have felt like I won. But mostly I just felt tired. The vindication did not erase the 3 years of suffering. It did not give me back my career, my friendships, or the relationship with my father that had been damaged. It proved I was telling the truth, but it did not undo the harm. After the video went public and Jenna faced consequences, things slowly started to shift. My old architecture firm reached out and apologized. They offered me my job back, but I declined. I told them I did not want pity or guilt-driven opportunities. I wanted to rebuild on my own terms. I found a new position at a different firm in Seattle. These people knew my story, but they respected me for surviving it. They judged me on my work, not my past. It felt good to design buildings again, to create something tangible and real. I started going to therapy twice a week. My therapist helped me process the trauma and anger I had been carrying. She taught me that holding on to bitterness would only hurt me, not Jenna. Forgiveness, she said, was not about excusing what someone did. It was about freeing yourself from their power over you. My sister Sarah called me one night and cried for an hour. She apologized for doubting me, for being distant, for not standing by me when I needed her most. I told her I understood. She had been young and scared, facing social exile because of something I was accused of. I did not blame her. We started talking regularly again, rebuilding what we had lost. My father was harder. He called a few months after the trial, and his voice cracked when he spoke. He said, "I failed you as a father. I should have stood by you unconditionally." I wanted to be angry. Part of me still was. But I also understood that he had been trying to protect my mother and sister from the community's judgment. It did not make it right, but it made it human. We are working on our relationship. It is slow, but it is something. I decided not to return to Portland. Seattle felt like a place where I could start fresh, where people did not look at me and see the accused. I joined a support group for people who had been falsely accused. Meeting others who understood the unique hell of that experience helped more than I expected. There were 2 men in the group who had been through similar situations. We understood each other in a way no one else could. I did not date for 2 years. I was too damaged, too afraid of trusting anyone. Then I met a woman named Grace. She was a landscape architect, and we worked together on a project designing outdoor spaces for a new housing development. She knew my story because it had been in the news, but she did not treat me like I was broken. She said, "What matters is who you are now, not what someone lied about." Our relationship developed slowly. I was cautious, maybe overly so. But Grace was patient. The first time she held my hand, I cried. Not because I was sad, but because I felt seen and accepted in a way I had not in years. Marcus kept trying to apologize. He sent messages, emails, even showed up at my apartment once. A year after everything came out, I agreed to meet him at a coffee shop. He cried and said, "I chose blood over brotherhood. I will regret that for the rest of my life." I told him I did not hate him, but that I could not go back to who we were. He had shown me that his loyalty had conditions, and I could not unsee that. We are not friends anymore, but I have forgiven him. Not for his sake, but for mine. As for Jenna, I do not think about her much anymore. I heard she got out of prison after serving her sentence. I hope she learned something from what she did, but I do not need her remorse to move forward. She has to live with what she did. That is punishment enough. 3 years in hell taught me things I wish I never had to learn. I learned that being falsely accused is a unique kind of suffering. You lose everything not because you did something wrong, but because someone lied and people chose to believe the lie. I learned that society rushes to judgment and that the court of public opinion has no appeals process. I learned that some people will doubt you even when you are proven innocent, because doubt is easier than admitting they were wrong. But I also learned that I am stronger than I thought. I survived something that almost killed me. I rebuilt a life from nothing. I found people who saw my worth when the world told them I had none. I do not hate Jenna anymore. Hate takes energy I do not want to waste. She took 3 years of my life, but I refuse to give her any more. I am not defined by what she did to me. I am defined by how I chose to keep living despite it. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if Amanda never sent that video. Would I still be working in that warehouse, invisible to the world, maybe? But I also know this. The truth does not always come fast, and it does not always come easy. But if you hold on long enough, if you refuse to let a lie define you, the truth has a way of finding the light. And when it does, the people who doubted you will have to face what they did. Not for revenge, but because that is just how the truth works. It does not forget, and it does not forgive lies. It just is. And that in the end is enough. Have you ever been in a situation where you were wrongly judged or accused? How did you find the strength to keep going? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss future stories of survival and justice. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that the truth matters, even when it takes time. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope you never have to experience what I went through. But if you do, I hope you remember that you are not alone and that holding on to the truth is always worth it. Take care of yourselves out there.